Collision 2023, taking place in the tri-state area, featuring some of the best players in the world, and we saw so many different players this tournament make incredible runs and upsets with their characters. So today we're reviewing one of the craziest top 8s in a segment that I like to call the fastest 4 minutes. Here we go. Today we start off with one of the craziest top 8s of all time, featuring some characters that you would never expect to see here. So what better way to kick it off than with the set that we always expect to see, typically in grand finals, and that's Tweek versus Spargo. Spargo started out game 1 by sending Tweek to the clouds, and even though Tweek barely pulled off a game 2 victory, it was Spargo that closed out the set, winning it 3-1 to advance to losers quarters. Next up we have Meister against what feels like the first Pikachu we've seen in a top 8 in years from ShinyMark. Unfortunately for ShinyMark, Meister had no problem dropping buckets on his Pikachu, but in game 2 ShinyMark did return the favor by dunking on Meister, and it ultimately didn't matter as Meister was able to close out the set 3-1 to advance to losers quarters. In winner semis, we have Riddles versus his bracket demon Sonix, and it started off in typical fashion with Riddles going down 0-2 with the Kazuya, but this time he remembered what he had to do.
When it reversed, Tim! When it reversed! Oh, Lord! Jesus!
Riddles with one of the craziest endings to a reverse 3-0 to advance to winners final. Our other winner semis is SkyJay versus Lima. Incineroar versus the character that kills you off a few hits. Oh wait, Incineroar can do that. What I meant to say was Bayo versus the character that easily gets gimped off stage. Oh wait, Incineroar can gimp people. What I really meant to say was Incineroar versus the character that can kill at 0%. Well, actually, Incineroar can do that too. SkyJay taking the set 3-1 to advance to winners finals. In losers quarters, we have Sonix versus Spargo. Unfortunately for Sonix, this set and his chances of making Summit ended faster than Hungrybox's campaign to get Sonix into Summit. Spargo winning the set 3-0 to advance to losers semifinals. The other losers quarters match was between Meister and Lima started the set off like it was Smash 4, going for 0 to deaths right out the gate. Some might say that Meister's DI was on point, but I like to say that he got pretty lucky throughout this set. Lima wouldn't go out without fighting as he dominated game 3, starting off by actually pulling off the 0 to death. But it would ultimately be Meister claiming his seat in the top 4.
That matchup, though, for sure. That was really clean.
With only 4 players left in the tournament, we have to take a trip back to the winner's side of the bracket. In winners finals, it's Riddles versus SkyJay, and one of the craziest winner finals that we've seen in a long time. SkyJay started the set off strong, but it would be Riddles that clutched out the first 2 games ultimately. SkyJay went on to prove that he wasn't scared of maintaining that aggressive playstyle, and when I say aggressive, I mean like doing 57% from one single move. He started to make me believe that this character is at least high tier. But in typical Kazuya fashion, Riddles took those high hopes and sent them straight down to the losers bracket, and Riddles would take the set 3-1 to advance into grand finals, sending SkyJay to wait in losers finals. Losers semis featured Meister and Spargo, and honestly the set wasn't really that close. You know, it started off with Spargo kind of dominating game 1. Meister did manage to pull off game 2, but it was Spargo taking game 3 in a close game, and completing side quests along the way by playing Pyra Mithra for fun, ultimately winning the set 3-1 and advancing to losers finals. Losers finals is a rematch between Spargo and SkyJay, and despite some people saying that Incineroar has a bad recovery, this set will kind of tell you otherwise. It's looking like Cloud had a much harder time off stage versus Incineroar than Incineroar had versus Cloud. And despite a few SDs from Spargo, it was mostly SkyJay going for some crazy stuff off stage, and you can definitely tell that he wanted to keep his Summit dreams alive, winning the set 3-1 and advancing for the rematch versus Riddles. Last but certainly not least, we have grand finals featuring the rematch between SkyJay and Riddles. And again, it would be Riddles taking the 2-0 lead for the set. But SkyJay was no scaredy cat as he decided to grab Riddles and hit him, just one time to pull off the craziest 0 to death of all time. I'm sorry, did I say the craziest 0 to death? Well, just watch the beginning of this next game. SkyJay continued to have the run of his life, but eventually Incineroar ran out of HP as Kazuya did what Kazuya does best and ended SkyJay's hopes and dreams of getting the final Summit spot. It ended up being Riddles taking Collision 2023 and claiming that final coveted spot for Smash Ultimate Summit 6.
Riddles! Got anything you want to say to the people?
I didn't expect to be put in this situation.
No problem. You're good if you want to.
I just want to say thanks to everybody who support me. Y'all the reason I do this shit.
Job.
Keep going. Next tournament, bro.
Say less.
GG's go next. What an incredible
Without
job.
further ado.
Woo!
Congratulations
Nice job,
to Riddles.